By the end of this video, you should understand the science of improving your aim, your builds, your editing, your piece control. Everything to do with mechanics here in Fortnite Season 8 will be improved by the end of this video. I'm going to give you the knowledge you need to improve and make a much better, training routine. So let's get straight into it, talking about aim. Obviously, when I'm talking about aim, we need to talk about sensitivity. If you don't want to listen to what I have to say about sensitivity, you can use the integrated snap points to skip ahead. But if you want to gain that extra bit of knowledge, make sure you listen very carefully. People that play on low sensitivities tend to have better aim. People that play on high sensitivities tend to edit more faster. Now, you obviously know why that is. A higher sensitivity means, you have to make less movements with your, controller stick or your mouse in that case to edit. So therefore it's faster. With aiming, you obviously have the opposite. When it's super slow, you can make very precise and hit very big damage shots, especially with your shotgun. And most players that have made this type of video before would have told you pick something in between. I'm actually going to tell you to pick something a bit more on the slow side. And the reason being is because you could be the best editor in the world, or you could be the best aimer in the world. Which one is more beneficial? You can look at it from different angles, and I'm going to be a bit biased here and say that the one with the aim is better, because at the end of the day, do your edits directly get you kills? No. Does your aim directly get you kills? Yes. Your aim is responsible for actually doing the damage to the opponent. Your editing only allows you to get a positional advantage or a better angle on killing that opponent. Therefore, your aim is more important, and your aim should go as a #1 priority. Then you're building, then you're editing. Building is more important because if you don't know how to build, you don't know how to edit. With that said, I am sorry for my phone going off, but let's talk a bit about your editing mechanics. I would say editing is by far the hardest mechanic to improve, simply because of all of the steps to improve it. With aim, you just practice your aim, or you just play the game and it will naturally improve over time. Editing is a bit harder to improve over time. You need to kind of have a direct training routine or a practice routine to improve it, and you need to have the right mindset on top of that. Now, a good general formula for making a practice routine is to follow what I'm about to say. It's put it like this: it's hard to play creative and transfer all your creative skill over to in-game. There's actually a process to do that, and that's practice by yourself on an edit course, meaning there's only you and edits. There's no opponents, there's no one shooting at you, there's no distractions, just you and an edit course running in a straight line. That's step 1. Then you start playing box fights. Why? Because box fights is you versus another player, or a 2v2. It's still in that enclosed environment, and there's no zone-like factors. There's nothing like that. Just clicks box fights, any type of box fights that's enclosed, play them, because now you're practicing your edits with no threat. You're introducing a bit of a threat. Then you move it to zone wars. You start playing zone wars, and zone wars has a lot more things to focus on, such as, you actually have to rotate, you have to pick a layer, you have to stay with your team if you're playing like a trio zone wars, and then it will transfer into creative. So it's more of a process. You can't just take it from an edit course and slap it into an arena game. It won't work like that. The input delay is different. The lag is way worse. The frames are way worse. So the actual one-to-one muscle memory transaction won't happen. But if you look at it like this, put it just for example, we have 0 ping in a edit course. There's nobody else there. It's just you in a private lobby, creative, and there's no ping, 0 ping. We move into a actual box fight scenario, and because you're connecting with a few other people, that 0 ping might be between 0 and 10 ping, maybe 0 and 5 ping. It's still an increase. Move to zone wars though, your frames will take a knock, and your ping might go up to around 10 to 15. And then when you go into in-game, you're used to it because that transition happened. It's not just like 0 to 100. It's like 0, 25, 50, 100. It's a smoother transition is what I'm trying to say. That's very important when it comes down to all types of mechanics. And you should kind of just pay attention to that formula and use it for editing and transferring your editing into in-game. But now let's talk about building and how to improve building, because that's a pretty tricky one. So most people will tell you to just, do a lot of 1v1s, learn a few retakes. I'm going to be honest right now, retakes are important, but not the ones that you think. Previously, I've made a video on how the side jump is the most overpowered retake, and I've seen Mr. Savage do it multiple times, and he does a technique called a rapid side jump, where it's literally a side jump into a side jump into a side jump, and he almost goes around in a 360, or he'll move all the way out to the left or move all the way out to the right. And this is very simple, and it throws the opponent off. And if your opponent decides to counter it, he can't. It's virtually impossible to counter this, because you're always moving a layer up and you're always moving diagonal. Meaning if he wants to counter you, he has to come from below you with a ramp. Like he can't side jump while you're side jumping. It doesn't make sense, I know, but it doesn't like work. If you want to see that video, I'll tag it up here and I'll tag it at the end of this video. It will definitely help you improve all of it. It's like a compilation of different side jumps you can use. It'll help you improve, trust me. But yeah, building, it's misunderstood. You need to understand not how to build, but the building grid. Do you ever get when somebody, this is kind of on the more editing side of building, but being able to pre-fire and time shots before building, or like when you're doing a Tfue classic where you're, placing a floor, jumping, shooting down, placing a floor to catch yourself. Building is all to do with understanding the grid and understanding that, like, how do I word this, boys? If you're on uneven terrain, or if you're on ultimate low ground, or maybe going for a height isn't the best thing. The building mechanics end of thing is not the problem. Your building mechanics are more than likely going to be okay, because if you're terrible at building and taking build fights, you've got box fights. And if you're good at editing, you're going to be good at box fights. So you can play to your play style. But, going for a skyscraper build fight, I never recommend, because it's going to double your third parties. Like, you're going to get griefed so many times because people are going to see the big Empire State Building just spawn in from you cranking to max height fighting somebody. And it's not good. It's not good for your mats. You're probably going to get storm held. There's literally no good thing about it, other than you'll probably get a refresh and you're going to get about 20 mats, because he's also burning your mats. And you're going to get a few tournament points or arena points. It's not a big win. Taking it to a box fight though, sure, it might take a bit longer, but you're going to win, especially if that's your strong suit. So I would say double down on box fighting. Understand your piece control, and that's what we're going to talk about now, because this is where building and editing both come together to link to give you God piece control. And piece control, if you know how to piece control, truly know how to piece control to the max capabilities, you could literally go pro. I'm not messing. That's really all it takes. There's a few other things, but mechanically, if you can piece control and you've got good aim, it's very, very doable to go pro. So listen carefully to this next section. So piece control is very easy to get better at if your building is very good and your editing is very good, because all piece control is the combination of two, and then having the aim to back it up. So piece control is almost a product of having good aim, good edits, and good building, and obviously knowing a few kind of, how would I word this, boys? How would I word it? Piece control formulas, like actual methods of piece control. Like you place this wall, then you place the cone, then you edit, stuff like that. The actual way you do it, like a retake, but for piece control. I don't know the words for it, boys, but hopefully someone lets me know down below. Like, I don't know, piece control technique is what you would call it. The multiple techniques that you need to know. If you understand the techniques and repeat them over and over again in creative, you'll find yourself doing it in tournaments over and over again. And I find that, and the method of learning that works the best for me when it comes to all sorts of mechanics, is actually just watching pro players. I love just watching a pro player, watching some highlights or some gameplay. I haven't done it in a while. I just remembered when I used to do it. It's very relaxing because, you can flake out, you can drink, you can do whatever you want to do. You can get some food, just chill out, watch a pro player for an hour or two, and notice what he's doing, okay? On one hand, focus on what he's doing, and then think back and be like, am I doing what he's doing? Because he's obviously doing it for a reason. And the reason why he's doing it, you do not need to understand. It's just the fact he's doing it, and he's doing it in this situation, and he's getting kills a lot easier from it. I don't know why he's doing it, but that's not important. Just use it. If it works for him, it'll work for you. And then you start upgrading your playstyle, and you come up with more techniques, more piece control techniques, more editing techniques. And it's more so not knowing how to do them, but knowing that you can do them. Hopefully that makes sense. It might sound a bit trippy, so I'll say it again in different words. Not knowing, if you don't watch Mr. Savage, you don't know he's doing all these types of edits. Or for example, when the Kanata Classic came out, the Kanata Classic is when you remove the 6 right tiles and you kind of have a strip of a wall. That thing, bro, it was pretty overpowered. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of overpowered because nobody expected it. But then you'll see Mr. Savage implementing it into a game. So you can see he's doing what I'm telling you to do. He's looking at players around him that are using that technique, and then he started using it. Then people, it died down, people stopped using it, and they started focusing on the Dorito edits because it was more meta, it was more overpowered because you can protect yourself more. The only thing about the Kanata Classic is that it was unexpected until everybody started using it for a hot minute, and then everybody stopped using it, and then nobody uses it. But the thing is, Mr. Savage got it from Kanata, everybody got it from Kanata, and you can see it's almost like a little mini viral meta. is when people start doing things, other people copy them because it works better than what they're doing. And when that happens, you need to hop on the bandwagon. If something gets nerfed, you need to be on it fast, because if you don't adapt, you're not going to get better. That's basically what I said, but I kind of said it in 2 lines in a bit of a weird way. Now I said it differently. Hopefully that didn't confuse you boys. But with that said, that's the end of the video. The video that I was talking about earlier about, improving your mechanics and the different side jump methods are on screen right now. So definitely click that. I'll see you boys in the next one.